Hey everybody, this is April Setti with New Jersey Buzz, and as you know, we're virtually having our show, and people in the community that can help with resources and just to check in with people. And today, two very important individuals, because there's a lot of stress going on, and with stress creates what they call their triggers. So this is Stacey is from Recovery Advocates, along with Marc. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey.
And thank you guys so much for coming on, because I know Recovery Advocates is very important in the community for dealing with addiction, but I think this is going to help a lot of people because it's just an emotion that people go through. Stacey, so explain to people what a trigger really is.
Hi. So a trigger is a stimulus that sparks a craving. So we have two kinds. We have the internal triggers and we have the external triggers. So some of the internal triggers can be, those feelings that we have right before we start drinking or drugging or during the time that we're drinking or drugging. So it could be angry, lonely, sad, bored, those feelings that we feel not good enough, hopeless. And, they call it hungry, angry, lonely, tired as well. So we feel those things, which can spark off, a relapse or that trigger. The external triggers are like people, places, and things, things that we associate with using. If we're watching a TV show, if we're actively in a house where people are drinking or drugging around us, that could be an external trigger. Just people, places, and things, the things that remind us of when we were using.
A lot of people are in isolation, whether you have family at the house, and sometimes they're the trigger. With isolation comes, a need, it escalates emotions, regardless of whether of anyone really. And just even if you watch the news, that's a trigger. So how can somebody get through these times? Okay, so let's define, we're talking to everyone, but then there's the person who's a recovered addiction, right? And then there's the person who's just going through it. And then there's just the person who's dealing with life, and they may be having these symptoms and over drinking or overindulging in mind-altering substance or even food. What are some things that you can do to get through this time? Because we're dealing with it and it's not ending anytime soon.
To deal with things in this time, you got to be creative, right? You got a lot of feelings going on, a lot of emotions and stress. And so to relieve that stress, there's several methods that you can use. First, processing the emotion and journaling about what's going on is very important. Second, you can definitely do workouts at home, because releasing endorphins is very important to, feeling good. And it's the way our bodies work. And it's a natural way to release endorphins and feel good about yourself. Third, I would always recommend people reaching out to their loved ones, to their support network, whatever that may be, to your best friend. And that way you're supported in every way, and knowing that you're not alone and that you're with people that care about you, whether it's not in person, but it's definitely intimate personal relationship that you can have over the phone and talk about these emotions.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate. Let's say you don't have that person. What can people do? Because maybe you don't go to AA, but maybe you should attend a meeting. But this is a way to start. When you go into these emotional states and you do the overindulgence thing, it takes you to a really dark place. It's not pretty. And,
Yes.
and maybe it's a time to reach out to people who understand what you're going through, right?
Yes. And there are support groups, like AA and NA are going to be the biggest ones that have the most people involved in it, because they're so long standing. And so finding those meetings in the area, you would go to AA-intergroup, or NA, you would go to nanj.org to find those resources for online meetings and online chat rooms and support groups for video conferencing.
Okay.
And also for people that are not seeking an NA or an AA program, they have all kinds of different things on the Zoom app They have meetings for meditation. They have meetings for Overeaters Anonymous. They have just support groups, people that want to chat and talk about their feelings. So they have a wide variety of Zoom meetings that people can go online and check out.